will be provided to those questions that are not reached. At the point of time limit is reached, I will allow the current question to be dealt with in full, including any supplementary questions. Question 1 is from Aidan McGurran to Councillor Kevin Blake.
Thank you. Right there. The question from Councillor McGowan is, could the Cabinet Member for Environment and Communities provide an update on the administrative progress regarding the estates motion below, long list there, people want me to read it over, that was passed by the meeting of this Council almost a year ago? It's regarding the wording, I don't necessarily agree with, is the forgotten estates. Since the motion was passed by full Council, work has taken place to address the matters raised. This is including the State's walkabout with the ward members, the production of an issued report identifying matters requiring action from both Basildon and Essex County Council, and significant liaison with Essex County Council to secure a meeting to progress these points. This liaison is continuing and ward members are being kept fully up to date throughout the process.
Councillor McGurran, do you have a supplementary?
I do, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And first of all, if you might indulge me, as it's my last council meeting, just before I will get to a question, I promise, but I'd just like to say personal thank you to Gary Edwards for the sterling work he's done on this, and his team as well, in terms of after the motion was passed. First of all, arranged a site visit to see some of the issues we were talking about. Did that, carried out a report, very thorough, efficient report, which made a lot of relevant points, and then proceeded to arrange a meeting with the relevant cabinet members, which I'm very grateful for, and has worked extremely hard to try and take matters further with Essex County Council as well. So I'm extremely appreciative to Gary and other council members of staff. Just to explain why I've raised this question at public forum, council forum. Obviously, this is my last council meeting. I thought it was important, as I moved into the motion, that we have an update to the whole council and not just to me or via the medium of email, because I felt it was, as it was passed back as a motion, it was important to have regular updates on this. It's been nearly a year. I felt that was a reasonable request, and I'm grateful to have been allowed to do it. What I would ask is, and I thank the cabinet member for his response, and work has taken place. That's absolutely true, as it's just outlined. Can you tell us more about the significant liaison with Essex County Council and where we are in terms of meetings with Essex County Council? Because the final line of the motion actually reads, to establish a new liaison body in conjunction with Essex County Council to prioritise improvements to our estates. Where are we actually with that? Thank you.
Councillor Blake.
Yeah, as Councillor McGowan knows, we have been dealing with the county on a regular basis on this, and officers have been in contact with council members. They did, as Councillor McGowan is aware, offer a part of their surgery. We were so honoured that we might only get a quarter of an hour of that surgery, which was not acceptable. And Councillor McGowan knows that he and myself already indicated that we will attend a meeting. If we have to, and Councillor McGowan said he would take time a holiday, but I would also do that as well. I have no problem with that, because we're not prepared to go there and just have a quarter of an hour meeting. It's such an important issue. We want to make sure that we sit down and have a good hour at least to thrash it out, if not longer. So at the moment, we've sent a message back saying we wish to continue this conversation for a length of time and not just giving a slot at surgery.
Councillor McGurran, you have a second supplementary?
I do, just briefly. Thank you for that. I would remind council members that this motion was passed almost a year ago. Just in case anyone's forgotten. I would also say, hopefully that meeting will take place within the next month or so, because obviously I will no longer be please don't break down over that. I will no longer be a councillor in about 7 weeks' time. Try and cope, I know it'll be difficult. So what I would ask the Cabinet member is, given it has taken some time to set up an initial meeting with Essex County Council, can he assure the Council that whether or not I'm a member of the Council at the time, that he will continue to press to make sure this initial meeting that takes place, and more importantly, that the liaison body that is mentioned in the motion actually comes to fruition. Hopefully there'll be a Labour councillor in Pitsea South East to take this matter forward. But what I would say is I would invite anyone who's concerned about this issue on the council, across the party divide, to make sure this motion is not dropped, it's not forgotten about, it's binding to our members and to our residents. And I would ask the Cabinet member to assure us that efforts will continue to be made to hold the meeting with the counterparts of Essex County Council and for this body to be formed. Thank you very much.
Councillor Blake.
Yeah, thank you for that. I can assure you that will be the case. As I say, I don't accept that it is forgotten estate, as you know my views on that. I've never accepted that from day one, because I live on that estate and I certainly haven't forgotten it. I mean, only the other day I collected on this forgotten estate with Clean for the Queen 113 sacks of rubbish that was there. So it's hardly forgotten about. It's unfortunate that people have copied the rubbish, but I know we had issues with saying that our little pieces is good, but I think it's very good, and maybe the piles aren't up to a standard. But at the end of the day, that's 113 bags of rubbish that people have dropped. It's not up to the council to pick up that rubbish, it's up to people in the first place not to drop it. And I'm certainly doing my part in that area to continue that. I'd be more than happy to take along my new Conservative councillors for that ward and South East along to the meeting. So you have my assurance I should be looking after that. But joking apart, that's just well, no, I hope that's not joking. No, that's absolutely serious. But I will continue the fight, and I will make one comment here. Unusual with me, I'd like to make an apology to yourself because I actually believe you were going to make this political. And I was ready for you. We've got stuff here. You haven't, and I respect you for that. And it makes me reassured that I will go forward fighting on behalf of the residents of the estates, not forgotten estates. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 2.
Councillor Callahan asks, has the Cabinet member any plans to reform the Pitsea Community Panel? The present time there are no plans to do that.
Councillor Callahan.
I wasn't expecting that. I also know that that's not quite accurate because we haven't had a community so far in 2016. Can the Cabinet member therefore explain to Council why officers are proposing a meeting with the Pitsea Community Panel members to reform the Pitsea Community Panel, but that won't happen until June?
Councillor Henry.
It's always interesting that councillors ask questions that they already know the answer to. So, if I get the answer wrong, I actually put it wrong. As you are aware, the Pitsea Community Panel was originally set up to facilitate effective tenant and leaseholder consultation and participation. It's funded by the Housing Revenue Account. However, the number of tenants engaging with these meetings has diminished significantly in recent years, and the meetings are no longer the most effective way to engage. There are a range of other channels for council tenants and leaseholders to engage with, and such as the service core groups, the customer focus groups, tenant and leaseholder panels, environmental champions, tenant scrutiny panels, and these groups are generally very well attended. Council officers have met with members of the Pitsea Community Panel on a number of occasions in recent weeks to discuss further opportunities for them to get involved with the local area and the council can support them. I could go on, but you get your supplementary.
I will take my supplementary. I'm grateful for Councillor Headley admitting to the answer to his second question that he misled council with the answer to his first one. But on my second supplementary, can I just say to him, because there is clearly a difference between what he is saying and what residents and members of that community panel meeting are saying. So I'm very keen that the administration is not seen to be kicking a potentially bad story for them into the long grass until after the election. And I know that the cabinet member will be equally keen to avoid such a critique. So will he now commit to meet with me, the panel members and the relevant officers in the next fortnight to see if we can't get the community panel meeting's future decided now before the local elections?
Councillor.
I'm not in a position to make any promises other than the one I made 44 years ago in church. The panel agreed that the public meetings are no longer tenant focused, but they are keen to continue to work together as a group to bring about positive change on their estates. Early discussions have been very positive, and the representatives and officers concerned are very keen to develop their ideas. Can I at this point say how impressive the officers of this council are in dealing with housing matters, particularly with the way they liaise and communicate with the tenants and leaseholders. And I think it does them a disservice if there's any criticism of officers. I don't mind you criticising me, because being a conservative, it's in my DNA that I'm always going to get it wrong. Nevertheless, representatives felt that they would like to run a workshop in the spring to get some feedback from residents. Have attended the Fitzroy community panel meetings in the last year. They want to consider ways that the community could work together collaboratively to address local issues and raise awareness of external funding opportunities. Due to the availability of a suitable vendor, this is not likely now to take place until June.
We'll move on to question 3, which is also from Councillor Gavin Campbell to Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Callaghan asks to ask the Cabinet member if he will provide an update on the Council's relocation plans for the Felmore's approved premises. And as he is aware, myself, Councillor Callaghan, Councillor Clancy and senior officers met with the Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Justice and Stephen Metcalfe, MP, in February. It was made clear to the Council that the firm position of the Ministry of Justice is that the site of Felmore's is in fact suitable for an approved premises, and therefore it is not necessary for it to be moved. However, the Minister accepted that if a suitable site could be found and planning permission secured, then the proceeds of the sale of the current approved premises at Felmore's could be made available as funding. The Council was advised very clearly that it was unlikely that any further capital would be available beyond that amount from the Ministry of Justice. Thank you.
Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Cabinet member will also know that at that same meeting we requested that the Minister write to the Homes and Communities Agency to ask them for their help in identifying potential sites within the borough. Can he update us as to whether or not he has had any indication as to whether or not the Minister has come through with that and written that letter? And can he also tell us what plans he has to meet with both ward councillors, Stephen Metcalfe, and the relevant planning officers to identify HCA land that may be a priority for us in building this new site?
Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can confirm that a letter has been sent by the Parliamentary Under-Secretary to the Homes and Communities Agency seeking their support to identify any land holdings within the borough that would meet the Ministry of Justice's requirements. As I advised Council in December, the Ministry's requirements for a new site included 28 single ensuite bedrooms, 1 staff bedroom, 1 large group room, 1 dining room, 1 TV lounge, 1 games room, 1 quiet room, 1 laundry, 1 medical room, and of course a kitchen, a total of 37 rooms. A formal response to that request is now actually awaited from the Homes and Communities Agency. Thank you.
Councillor Young for supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the original answer, Councillor Moore alluded to the fact that the Ministry of Justice's position is that the existing site is suitable. Does he share my frustrations that when we asked the Minister to define what the suitability criteria was for an approved premise, he was unable to do that? And further, does he also share my frustrations that the Chairman of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee cancelled an evidence session from the Director of the National Probation Service's approved premises, who was due to come before councillors, and he could have been able to answer that question, and that Councillor Baggott did not have the courtesy to send an email to either ward councillors or to members who were heading up, including myself, the Task and Finish Review, and therefore that is a huge opportunity missed for people of Pitsea to get answers.
Councillor Moore.
I'm not sure I can remember all of that. But what was the first part of your question? Oh, I'm not sharing your frustration. Right. I understand that we have set up a task and finish group to review suitable sites, and the lead member is Councillor Callaghan. If appropriate sites could be identified by the Homes and Communities Agency, then this council will explore, through the task and finish group, the financial implications of each site, as well as whether the sites could actually meet the specification laid down by the Ministry of Justice. In terms of the question of why a meeting with the director from the National Probation Service was cancelled, actually this is a question for the chairman of the Overview and Scrutiny Commission rather than me. There is nothing to stop the Task and Finish group requesting the director to attend if it's so decided. And I understand that the director is happy to attend a Task and Finish group meeting if he is invited. As you are aware, we had met with the Minister and his officials responsible for approved premises. There seemed little point in inviting another official who was not present at that meeting with the Minister to be questioned by the Commission, especially as we had subsequently set up a Task and Finish group under the leadership of Councillor Callaghan. We already have a commitment from the Minister to write to the HCA to see if they had any appropriate land, and we await their response. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
We'll now move on to question 4, which is from Councillor Andrew Buxton to Councillor Terry Sargent.
Sorry, Mayor, if Councillor Headley can answer that one, it's under his portfolio.
Okay, Councillor Headley, would you like
It
to
would
answer?
appear that this question was misdirected into taking into granted that Councillor Buxton can tell the difference between myself and Councillor Sargent. Rough sleepers in the borough is the question. Does the council know how many people are sleeping upstairs? I can get heckled by a professional at home, you know. Now, what sort of support and help are they getting offered through the council? Quite a lot.
Councillor Buxton.
Okay. What provisions are in place if we were to have a serious cold snap, and what support would the council give?
I think it's important that the council deals with rough sleepers or illness. These are people that very often have challenging circumstances to deal with, whether it's summer, winter, warm, cold. And at the time of your question, there are 6 confirmed rough sleepers within the district. These numbers do fluctuate from time to time, but our intervention is always timely. And we work with rough sleepers through a number of agencies, including St Mungo's. Of the 6 that I've mentioned, all have been offered rehousing services in one form or another. Further initiatives concerning match funding with Thurrock Council to fund an outreach work that are underway. Enhanced rehousing options include provision of travel warrants, arrange direct access to hostels, voluntary relocation. Basildon Council itself, through the housing team, are working with St Mungo's as a key partner to provide outreach services to both identify and verify rough sleepers. Not all rough sleepers are actually homeless. As well as assisting rough sleepers to move on either to short-term direct access accommodation or long-term sustainable housing solutions, and this has proved hugely successful. This is yet another success story for the housing team in the Basildon Council. In addition, the housing advice team at Basildon have been successful in doubling the amount of successful homelessness prevention outcomes, while our homeless prevention fund has been reinvigorated and revised to provide for a small repayable loan, ensuring we are able to broaden the scope of clients we are able to assist and deal with. In so doing, reducing the issue of rough sleep throughout the borough.
Councillor, have you a supplementary?
On the 25th of January, the council got a meeting with different organisations on this homeless issue. What was the outcome of the meeting? And would the cabinet member be willing to brief the council? And isn't it about time we looked about setting up a hostel to give help and support and a bed for the homeless? Because I reckon it must be more than 6 people homeless in the borough.
Councillor Heath.
I'm quite happy to receive evidence that the councillor has on the numbers, and if he wishes to see me afterwards, we will deal with that question. In terms of the meeting in January, I wasn't in attendance there, but I will make sure that you receive any minutes of that meeting. But as things stand, I cannot add to the statement we made.
We now move on to question 5 from Councillor Aidan McGurran to Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor McGurran asks, how many responses have been received so far on the local plan consultation? Could these be broken down by ward, or failing that, by the areas where the consultation exhibitions have taken place? That is, Pitsea, Basildon, Leighton, Billericay and Wickford. As the consultation is still open, I am unable to provide an answer as requested to this question. Questionnaires are being returned daily, as well as emailed comments to the plan. However, the actual logging and processing, including where they are from, will not start until the consultation has closed on March the 24th.
Councillor, do you have a supplementary?
I do, thank you. I think it's a shame that you can't give us any figures whatsoever, because whilst I obviously understand the consultations going on, that's actually the purpose of the question. It would be useful to know what sort of response we were getting and where those responses were coming from. It actually might be useful to council as well, because to see if that accords with, as local councillors, the sort of responses we're getting, and to see if we can help in any way to push that in the last period of the consultation. But can I just check, because obviously the question was broken up a little bit, perhaps overly complicated matter. Is the cabinet member saying that he can't give a total figure for the number of responses thus far? That seems very odd that can't be done, and if you can, I'd be grateful for it.
Councillor Moore.
Yes, I can. So far, we've had 1,050 comments.
Councillor McGurran, you have a supplementary?
I do. Thank you very much for that. That's worth knowing. Could I just ask as well, on the same issue, is there any information available, well, there must be information available, on the number of people that have visited the various exhibitions? And also, because from our own personal experience of visiting some of these sessions, there seems, perhaps not surprisingly, in some respects, be a preponderance of, shall we say, middle-aged and older residents. Now, whilst that is understandable, obviously this local plan probably affects young residents far more. Is there any information at the moment on, in terms of these sessions, that how many people under the age of 35 have attended consultation sessions?
Councillor Moore.
I do have the numbers of people who have attended the exhibitions. They were not, the numbers were not split up by age group. On the February the 13th at Pitsea there were 150. Basildon on February the 17th, 262. Langdon on February the 20th, 85. Billericay, February the 22nd, 401. Wickford, February the 27th, 520. Pitsea, February the 29th, 159. Basildon, March the 5th, 356. Langdon, March the 7th, 93. Dunton, March the 10th, 79. Billericay, March the 12th, 243. Wickford, last night, 261, making a total of 2,069 people who attended the exhibition.
Right, we'll move on now to Councillor Richard Moore.
Councillor Harrison asks, would Councillor Moore agree that the Barn Hall area of Wickford is an inappropriate area for a permanent traveller site? Mr Mayor, as the member is aware, it is not appropriate for me as the Cabinet member to make any comment on any individual site within the draft local plan whilst the public consultation is still in progress.
Councillor Harrison, have you a supplementary?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I won't make a speech first. Just ask, when the local plan process was the subject of scrutiny by all members of the council, Barn Hall in Wickford was identified as a possible site for housing. Why was a 10 pitch traveller site not mentioned during the scrutiny process?
Mr Mayor, I don't recall that the traveller site was not mentioned, but we did agree that there would be a separate scrutiny meeting covering, amongst other things, gypsy and traveller sites.
Councillor Harrison, you have a supplementary?
Yes, please. As there was not the opportunity to scrutinise the process, and all Wickford members, your side as well as over here, sat round a table looking at the Wickford maps, and they will all agree, I'm positive, that there is actually no mention of a traveller site at Barn Hall. I'm getting some nods from over there. So will Councillor Moore now withdraw this proposal from the local plan consultation in order that proper scrutiny can take place?
The answer, Mr Mayor, is no, I will not withdraw it. We already have agreed that there will be a separate scrutiny meeting to talk about gypsy and traveller matters. Thank you.
Right, that is time up for members' question time.